Anyone who's been to Moab gets excited when they turn down this road. It's Route 128, the gateway to several popular destinations in Moab. Onion Creek, Fisher Towers, and Top of the World are among the most notable. Today, we're going to talk about the Dome Plateau Trail. It's located about 30 miles northeast of Moab, up Route 128. You'll know you're almost there when you see the Dewey Bridge campground on the left and the beginning of the Top of the World trailhead on the right, just before crossing the new Dewey Bridge. The traditional start point for the trail will be on the left-hand side, just across the bridge. The traditional end point of the trail is about another 4.5 miles further north on 128. OnX lists this trail as moderate, with an approximate straight-through time of 4 hours. This does not include a myriad of side trails you'll find along the way, which include the Owl Draw and portions of the Kokopelli Trail. You could spend all day exploring the area in and around the Dome Plateau, and I'd highly encourage it, as there's so much to see. I would caution, however, have an offline mapping app like OnX, Gaia, or Trails Off-Road, as it's easy to get turned around on the Dome Plateau and find yourself lost, even when you think you're following the main trail. While an experienced off-road driver could do this trail with a two-wheel drive, I would recommend a minimum of a stock four-wheel drive. A modest lift would be a bonus, but not absolutely necessary, as long as you take the right lines and have a spotter. Side-by-sides and dirt bikes should have no problem. There is one obstacle newer drivers, anyone without a lift, longer wheelbases, or bad departure angles should avoid. That's the Boca Ledge. It lies just east of the Boca Arch on the last leg of the trail, and it can be a monster. Luckily, there's two alternate routes to avoid it. If you still want to visit the Boca Arch, and I suggest you do, you'll need to backtrack to it once you rejoin the main trail. The first couple of minutes on the trail might make you think airing down was a waste of time. Why does this trail have a moderate rating, you're going to ask yourself? Well, about a mile or so in, you'll gradually be given a taste of what's in store for you ahead beyond the first gate. You shouldn't run across any more severe off-camber opportunities than you'll see here, unless you try some inadvisable lines. While there are no bypasses for anything at this point, what you will find is a variety of lines in the trail to choose from. Easy to clearance testing. If you're a beginner with no spotter, take your time in this first area. Get used to picking your lines, and everything else will be a lot easier as you go. If the gate is open when you reach it, leave it open. If it's closed, then make sure you close it behind you. After this gate, you begin your trek across the plateaus. Before you continue, though, take a look back where you came from. This view can't be missed. Just a piece of advice. If you're already bottoming out on even a good line here, or have managed to go turtle, this would be a good place to turn around and possibly try the other end of the trail. Or find an easier trail down the river, possibly like a Onion Creek Trail. If I had to use one word to describe the rest of the first half of the trail, it would be rocky. Not difficult per se, just rocky. While there are some smooth sections early on, they appear like celebrity cameos in indie films. Don't blink, or you'll miss them. About 20 to 30 minutes into the trail, you'll see a tall and narrow cave in the face of a plateau on the north side of the trail. It's a shallow cave, so there's not much to explore, but it is a nice spot to stop for a break, especially when there's a lot of traffic on the trail. It's pretty photogenic too. Other than some locations off the main trail, this is the best spot to stop for about another hour or so down the trail. We'll take a closer look at an option off the main trail in a bit. After a quick break, it's back on the trail, immediately into a hill climb. You're rewarded with a short but smooth trail afterwards. From here on, keep an eye on your maps and your route, as other options will begin to appear, as will more rock and small ledges, and some steeper downhill ledges. Just keep taking the best lines for your vehicle. As you get closer to the halfway point, you will go through a few washouts and shallow canyons. Be careful of the downhill ledges in some of these areas, as your line can make the difference between smooth riding and scraping your frame. Again, there's almost always a decent line to take. When there's not one for you, you will probably spot a bypass. You'll know you're about to meet up with the second half of the trail when those infrequent, smooth stretches begin to appear for longer periods, and the horizon looks something like this. Before we move on to the second half of the trail, I'd like to show you one of my favorite spots. It's not on the main trail, but it has been looking down on you for many miles. The upper plateau on the north side of the trail is accessible through a labyrinth of trails. As long as your GPS mapping app has an up-to-date motor vehicle use map, you should be able to make your way along most of the upper plateau's rim. Either turn on the 3D view of your mapping app to see which trails ride along the plateau, or use a topographic layer with elevation labeling to pick the right turns. My first stop was onto a short turnout lined by rocks to lead the way. This first spot did not disappoint, but I saw I could get higher. I scrambled up stone ledges and crawled over a few rock obstacles along the way. And then I found it. The top. I wheeled the top for quite a while before I found the spot. Full cell reception, level terrain to make lunch, and an epic view. You could make an entire trip out of exploring the trails that crisscross the Dome Plateau. However, if you're riding alone, know this: when to bow out. Some of these side trails don't see much regular traffic, and it could be a while before someone helps you. If you're comfortable and capable being on your own out here, though, there are worse spots to kick back with some good food and a cool drink. If this was all there was to be had on Dome Plateau Trail, I feel it would be enough. Just difficult enough to be considered a moderate trail, depending on how you approach it, and engaging enough to keep your attention. Not to mention the beautiful vistas. We're going to look at my favorite half of the trail next, and my favorite direction to drive the trail in, as of my trip here in the spring. And by next, I mean next video. I found so much footage of what I wanted to show of the Dome Plateau that it wouldn't fit together in one normal length video. So, until next time, here's some highlights from part 2.